We all know Peter Griffin. He's that chaotic dad energy embodied. The guy who's consistently, unapologetically, and often bafflingly dumb. It's not just about Peter being kinda clueless anymore. Nah fam, we're talking a full-blown catastrophic intellectual meltdown. We're talking about a man whose brain cells decided to peace out faster than your motivation on a Monday morning. So buckle up, because today we're taking a deep dive into the brain, or what's left of it, of Peter Griffin. We're going to track his epic glow down. It's going to be wild and possibly deeply disturbing. Let's get it, starting with the episode, Petarded. After a visit to the doc, Peter gets hit with the news. He's officially mentally retarded. Meanwhile, Lois is low-key trying to hold it together, thinking Peter's just being extra because, mental retardation usually happens pre-birth, not midlife crisis.
Well, excuse me for being retarded. My whole world has been turned upside down. Black is east, up is white.
You know, Peter, I hate to say I told you so about not being a genius, but,
Yeah! In your face, God!
Even Brian couldn't resist a classic, I told you so. Honestly, who'd have thought Peter's lifelong vibe of being clueless would actually get a medical stamp of approval? That's some serious glow down. Suddenly, the neighborhood decided to get in on the action, slapping a special dad sign right outside Peter's house. Yes, they're just making sure he feels extra special. You know, like a curated mental case.
What is that? God, what are they doing? Why are they trying to publicly humiliate me like this? I mean, what's the purpose? Oh, shiny red ball.
Peter, watch out!
And just like that, Peter's focus pivoted from existential dread to a shiny red ball. Of course, chasing said ball led to a whole vibe of chaos, culminating in a literal car crash. Classic Peter, turning a mundane Tuesday into a fender bender for the ages. Later, Peter decides to hit up Joe's place. His mission? To bond on a personal level by dropping the bombshell that he's mentally restarted. Because nothing screams male bonding like trauma dumping a fresh diagnosis.
And, I just wanted to ask, how do you deal with it?
Deal with what?
With being retarded.
Peter, I'm not retarded, I'm handicapped.
Only Peter could be so absolutely clueless as to mix up retarded and handicapped. Big yikes. It just proves that even with a fancy new label, Peter's still Peter. Later, Lois and Peter roll up to a party, but Peter's not exactly getting the VIP treatment. More like the handle with care, he might spontaneously combust treatment. Lois, bless her heart, tries to salvage the situation, but Peter's out here looking like he's ready to spike a volleyball inside a Michelin star restaurant.
I kind of get the helmet, but what's with the water wings?
Well, you did order the soup.
Naturally, Peter's grand moment ends with him flailing like a beached whale in his soup. Water wings are clearly not Peter-proof.
Oh, like something could happen. Get me out! Get me out! Get me out! Get me out!
Mission accomplished, Peter. 30 seconds You've officially truly iconic, how to embarrass your wife in 30 seconds status. Reasons. Truly iconic. Drive back home, Peter, because apparently one car crash wasn't enough, manages to hit Mr. Tucker and his but plot twist, being restarted actually saves his bacon. The sheer audacity of his get-out-of-jail-free card is unmatched.
Wait a minute. You're Peter Griffin, the retarded fellow.
Yeah?
Oh, well, then don't worry about it.
And just like that, Peter, ever the opportunist, realizes he can misuse his illness. Who needs consequences when you've got a diagnosis?
Wait a minute, you mean you're not even gonna call the cops? Oh my God! I could get away with anything!
Peter's officially on his way to flexing his disability for maximum chaotic good. The next day, he strolls into a church and starts a Bible fight, by hitting people with the book. But instead of getting excommunicated, his antics are just ignored, maybe even celebrated. The bar is literally on the floor for Peter.
Bible fight!
Someone needs to slap a leash on this man, seriously. Here comes the real shocker. Peter, the absolute menace, barges into the ladies' restroom and starts flinging open bathroom doors. And the ladies don't even get mad, they just pity him. The power of weaponized sympathy is truly something else.
Jeez, didn't you hear me a second ago? I'm retarded.
Oh, you're just curious. Well, let me show you how everything works down there.
From special dad to pervert dad in record time. The glowdown continues. Next up, Peter decides to bless a fast food joint with his presence alongside Lois. Naturally, he proceeds to turn the place into a war zone, straight up breaking the line using his restarted man card.
Attention restaurant customers. That is all.
He then, with the finesse of a wrecking ball, forces his way into the kitchen, because why respect boundaries when you can claim brain fog?
Peter, get back here.
No freaking way. The fryer later. Oh, I am so taking this.
He hurls a grease-soaked deep fryer right onto Lois, and she ends up in the hospital. At this point, Peter isn't just a terrible husband. He's officially in the running for worst dad ever. The city actually declares him mentally unfit to parent his own children. Big oopsie energy.
I feel horrible, Brian. I put Lois in a hospital and I lost the kids. This is turning out worse than Stewie's iPod commercial.
He says all this after using Lois's hospital bandages as toilet paper. Peter, my dude, we didn't think it was possible to sink any lower. Yet here we are. After reluctantly dropping Quagmire at the Quahog airport, Peter pulls a classic Peter move, siphoning plane fuel to juice up his own car. His big brain scheme? To get his pickup truck airborne, obviously. The result, as one might expect from a Peter Griffin master plan, is the commercial plane Quagmire was piloting suddenly running on fumes, forcing an emergency crash landing. Peak Peter, turning a mundane airport run into an international incident.
Boy, Quagmire, I'm really sorry they fired you. I feel like this is partially my fault.
Now, Peter, it's perfectly normal to siphon jet fuel from an active runway with the intention of flying a pickup truck.
Peter's ride-or-die bestie is understandably absolutely fuming. Like losing your job and nearly dying thanks to your buddy's brain-dead antics? It's a whole new level of betrayal.
I know I caused a lot of trouble, but my redneck days are over. No more crotch shots of me getting out of a car.
White lies, Peter. 3 weeks later, guess who's crashing on Peter's couch? Quagmire. Broke, jobless, and basically homeless, all thanks to Peter Griffin's sheer, unadulterated idiocy. After a month of this arrangement, Lois, probably at her breaking point, finally asked Peter to have a talk with Quagmire about finding a new place to exist.
Lois, I'm the whole reason he lost his job and his house. Besides, I can't throw my best friend out on the street like a prom night dumpster baby.
The next day, Peter, channeling his inner criminal mastermind, concocts a genius-level plan with Cleveland Joe and, ironically, Quagmire, to get Quagmire's pilot job back.
Quagmire will pose as an airline passenger on the 6 o'clock flight to New York. Then Joe and I will sneak into the flight attendant's lounge while Cleveland distracts the security personnel.
This whole elaborate scheme, with all its sneaking, fake flight attendants, and turning Quagmire into an accidental hero, feels less like a plan and more like a federal offense waiting to happen. The sheer audacity of these dudes is wild.
Once we're in the air, we drug the pilots, at which point Quagmire is forced to step in and land the plane safely, making him a hero.
Peter's plan sounds like a wild fever dream, honestly. So like the absolute masterminds they are, they execute the plan. After successfully poisoning the pilots, the plane hits some gnarly turbulence. Everybody's scrambling, looking for Quagmire, their supposed savior.
I said if only there was someone on board who could save us.
Peter, I don't see Quagmire.
Well, plot twist. Quagmire's too busy living his best life, getting his flirt on with some random at the airport. He literally forgot to get on the damn plane. He's in deep, deep hot water. Later, in a truly bizarre turn of events, Quagmire does end up helping Peter land the plane safely, guiding him through the cockpit's chaos from the ground. Because even Peter's boneheaded moves sometimes get an assist from the universe.
All right, Peter, slide the red knob all the way out. And the second those wheels touch the ground, you hit the emergency brake.
And Peter, against all odds, actually pulls it off. Despite being a walking, talking hazard, he totally redeems himself, securing Quagmire's job back. It's a miracle, but like a really messed up miracle.
I'm so happy for you. I don't even mind that I was raped in a federal prison after I was arrested for hijacking.
Peter, you absolute menace. Honestly, after endangering hundreds of lives for your own warped sense of adventure, getting violated in a federal prison feels like a surprisingly mild consequence. You probably deserve that. And then some. In a classic Quahog catastrophe, the city's eccentric, possibly sentient former mayor Adam West finally kicks the bucket. This grim event triggers a frantic search for a new leader, plunging the town into a chaotic scramble for mayoral candidates. Lois is worried about the town.
This town is falling apart. Last week, the bridge over the collapsed bridge collapsed.
Well, you're a middle-aged woman with no job. Maybe you should get really worked up about it.
Amidst the civic turmoil, Peter Griffin, ever the beacon of questionable judgment, suddenly has a light bulb moment during the meeting.
Lois, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Just get a former Batman and move on. I'm sure Val Kilmer could use the insurance.
Peter doesn't like the idea of a librarian woman as the new mayor. He suggests the name of a man who apparently is the late mayor's cousin, and according to Peter, literally embodies all things rugged and masculine. This guy isn't just a cowboy. He's the legendary cowboy, and the ultimate spokesperson for everything that screams manly. It's giving peak toxic masculinity, but make it family-friendly-ish.
Wild West is a legendary cowboy and a spokesman for everything manly.
Peter, with the unwavering determination of a toddler with a sugar rush, storms over to Wild West's pad, ready to drop the ultimate persuasion bomb. He lays it on thick, buttering up Wild West with some truly dramatic takes on the state of the nation. It's wild to think Peter believes this much in anyone, let alone someone whose main qualifications seem to be a dusty hat and a strong jawline. His sales pitch is less about policy and more about pure, unadulterated desperation for Quahog to not completely implode. Initially, Wild West isn't biting. He's probably seen enough of Peter to know that any endorsement from him is basically a curse. However, in a twist no one saw coming, except maybe the writers, he later shows up in Quahog, ready to throw his hat into the mayoral ring. This, of course, sends Peter into full-blown superfan mode, becoming Wild West's most annoying, yet strangely dedicated hype man. Meanwhile, Lois, with her superior intellect and actual sense of civic duty, is backing the other candidate.
Peter, what the hell is wrong with you? You don't know anything about politics.
What, you don't know anything about landing an airplane, asswipe? Besides, Wild West would make a great mayor. He's a man.
And just like that, the domestic bliss of the Griffin household crumbles, giving way to an epic rivalry between husband and wife. Peter is being a sexist for real. Who knew politics could be such a homewrecker? This petty squabble is so real, it's almost relatable. A few days later, Peter, in a last-ditch effort to convert Lois to the Wild West gospel, drags her to the Cowboys' digs. What was supposed to be a mind-changing mission turns into a full-blown existential crisis for Peter. Lois, instead of being swayed by Peter's arguments, ends up absolutely obsessed with Wild West, practically idolizing him as the epitome of manhood. It's giving trading up energy, and Peter's tiny, insecure heart can't handle it. The jealousy hits Peter harder than a brick to the face, and his loyalty to Wild West evaporates faster than his diet promises. Suddenly, his hero is his nemesis.
I've decided that Wild West is the worst possible person to be mayor, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to stop him.
Later that night, Peter, fueled by pure unadulterated jealousy and probably some questionable late-night snacks, sneaks over to Wild West's place, ready to pull off something truly unhinged. His brilliant plan is to disfigure the man's most prized possession, because nothing says political sabotage like a botched barber job.
Let's see how popular you are when I cut off your mustache.
Honestly, Peter, what a dumb idea. An utter failure of a master plan showcasing his brainpower peaked sometime around his second birthday. He tries everything, from flimsy scissors to a woodcutter, but Wild West's facial hair is apparently built different. It's defying the laws of physics, or maybe just Peter's incompetence.
How is this so strong?
My hair follicles run deeper than the roots of a sequoia. Get him, fella.
In another desperate, morally bankrupt attempt to trash Wild West's reputation, Peter decides to go full pyromaniac. He literally sets the city library ablaze, risking the librarian's life in the process, because who needs books or safety when you're caught in a fit of jealous rage? The dark humor here is that Peter's jealousy-driven actions swing wildly from comically inept to genuinely criminal, proving his character has no moral bottom.
Could somebody help me?
Don't panic, the librarian!
In the end, despite Peter's fiery acts of sabotage and outright villainy, Wild West still ends up clinching the mayoral seat. This outcome, while predictable for Quahog, serves as a stark reminder of just how low Peter Griffin can sink when jealousy takes the wheel. His moral compass is truly shattered, consistently pointing south towards depravity and self-destruction, all for the most trivial reasons. It's not just dumb, it's a terrifying descent into being an unhinged menace. Peter's humor, let's be real, is usually just him doing something deeply unhinged, but somehow charmed the director of a live cooking show. The catch? Quagmire gets cast as a main chef, but only if Peter tags along, because nothing says culinary expertise like a guy who once tried to deep fry his own hand. Quagmire, bless his perverted heart, is genuinely thrilled, treating this like his big break, while Peter's brain is still stuck in a watery fever dream.
I know. Might sound silly, but being a chef is something I've always dreamed about.
I always dream about my house filling up with water.
From day one, Peter, naturally, decides to unleash peak Peter energy on set, turning a professional cooking show into his personal clown college. His genius idea, the infamous Cinnamon Challenge. Because who needs actual cooking when you can risk choking hazards for internet points?
How about we take this Cinnamon Challenge?
Okay, Peter, we've all seen the internet videos. We're not doing that.
But Peter, being Peter, hears no, and translate it to do it anyway, but with more dramatic flair. He promptly shoves a spoonful of that fine brown powder into his gullet. The result is pure, unadulterated chaos. A violent explosion of cinnamon dust erupts from his face, turning Quagmire into a human dust cloud. Peter coughs and expels a lungful of spice, coating everything and everyone in a fine brown film of idiocy. Peter, however, thinks he's an absolute comedic genius, probably already mentally drafting his Netflix special.
You done?
Yeah. All right, best 2 out of 3, Cinnamon.
It was undeniably messy, but damn if Peter wasn't captivatingly idiotic. The kind of car crash TV you just can't look away from, which in the twisted world of reality television translates to ratings. During the next live broadcast, Peter's back at it, proving that his capacity for disruption knows no bounds. While Quagmire, the actual chef, is meticulously marinating chicken, trying to salvage his dreams amidst the unfolding anarchy, Peter decides to channel his inner percussionist. He grabs 2 metal spoons and starts banging them on every available surface, turning the set into a chaotic symphony of clangs and clatters. It's like Stomp, but if Stomp had a severe head injury and an ego the size of a small moon. He even drops a cringy, dated reference, proving his pop culture knowledge is as current as his culinary skills.
If you bang these metal spoons on everything, it's like Stomp. Look at me! I'm huge in 2002!
Quagmire, his last shred of patience evaporating like steam from a boiling pot, tries to intervene, but Peter's got those selective hearing problems when it comes to being told what to do. The frustration finally boils over. Quagmire snaps, pulling a move that probably felt incredibly liberating.
Damn it, Peter, that's it! I can't do this show with you anymore. You're fired!
What? You can't fire me! Only Mr. Spacely can fire me.
But here's where the wild plot twist that nobody saw coming. Instead of getting dragged off set by security, Peter gets offered his own solo show. Because apparently America loves a good train wreck, especially when it's wrapped in human skin and makes fart noises with its armpit. The director, clearly a glutton for punishment or ratings, decides the only way to resolve this escalating rivalry between the friends is a good old-fashioned head-to-head cook-off. It's a high-stakes culinary showdown, a battle of wits that Peter is clearly destined to lose, if he even has wits.
A cook-off it is. See you in the kitchen, jerk.
I'll see you in hell, loser.
Peter, you absolute menace. Putting your friend's actual dream job on the line, sabotaging him at every turn, and then trash-talking him into a high-stakes competition, that's not just being a bad pal, that's being a special kind of villain. It's genuinely cruel, but delivered with such confident ignorance that it almost loops back around to funny. This isn't just Peter being dumb, it's Peter weaponizing his stupidity to ruin lives, all while thinking he's the star of his own reality show. In a classic Peter Griffin move, a routine doctor's visit takes a wild turn when he uncovers a subcutaneous vestigial twin chilling on his neck. This isn't just any growth, it's an incomplete twin that apparently decided Peter's neck was prime real estate, feeding off his main body. The doctor slices open the area and out pops, well, a smaller, more underdeveloped Peter.
Oh my god, it's a little me!
Instead of, freaking out about a parasitic twin, Peter's absolutely stoked. Because nothing says self-absorbed like finding the perfect new accessory for your spoken word jazz career.
This is awesome! Finally, I'll have an interesting silhouette for the beginning of my spoken word jazz.
Upon returning home, Peter introduces this new, unsettling appendage to the kids. Seriously, who asked for a neck uncle? And who knew Peter's internal monologue involved contemplating weird family dynamics? It's giving scare the children vibes for sure.
Kids, remember how when you were little, you always wanted a neck uncle? No. Well, now you got one!
Peter, mate, that's not an uncle. It's a sentient growth that probably pays rent and vital nutrients. Talk about a glow down for your neck. You're legitimately terrifying your kids. Shockingly, Chip, the neck-dwelling twin, quickly becomes the family's new fave, even forging an unbreakable bond with Peter. Guess everyone loves a good underdog story, especially when the underdog is a literal growth. The next day, Peter's all about that low-effort life, just munchies and chilling. But Chip, the little go-getter, isn't about that sedentary life. He's got wanderlust and urges Peter to go explore, suggests a trip to the Quahog Museum. Who knew a neck twin would be the adventurous one?
Chip, slow down, all right? Just because everything's new to you doesn't mean you have to do it all at once.
Peter, you absolute snooze fest. Your idea of fun is probably watching paint dry. This dude has zero sense of adventure or joy. Later at the office, Chip, with his undeniable charm, even manages to schmooze Peter's boss. Seriously, this mini Peter has more game than the original.
Hello there! I've never met a supervisor/supermodel before.
Chip drops a smooth line, and just like that, he's got a date. Peter's probably seething with jealousy, realizing his tiny doppelganger is pulling more than he ever could. The very next day, Peter, fed up with being outshined by his neck twin, hits up the doctor again, seeking a permanent solution.
Listen, Doc, is there any way you can have this thing on my neck removed?
Even when faced with the grim reality that the procedure is risky and could literally flatline him, Peter's still all in on ditching Chip. Desperation looks good on him.
Look, Doc, you gotta do the procedure, all right? I don't care if I die. I mean, maybe in my next life I'll come back as an airbag or something.
So Peter goes under the knife, and now Chip's finally free to roam, walking on his own tiny feet. Peter, ever the wise mentor, suggests Chip go off and live his best independent life, but the family, being the supportive chaos agents they are, has other plans.
He's staying with us.
What?
Yay!
Awesome!
Poor Peter. Chip has officially usurped his place as a family favorite. From jazzing up the house decor to knitting play clothes for the kids, Chip's proving to be the ultimate neck uncle everyone apparently needed. Peter's clearly not thrilled.
Gosh, isn't Isn't Chip wonderful?
No, he's not wonderful, Lois. He's annoying guy.
Damn, the little twin is getting a full-blown residency in Peter's head. In a move that screams desperate measures, Peter brings a dingo home, clearly intending to make Chip its next meal, because nothing says problem-solving like introducing a wild animal into your suburban home.
Here, let's play steak catch.
Oh boy, I got it! Hey, back to you, Peter!
Oh, cool, steak catch. I'm gonna use my one steak in the pants timeout. Ah, no, not me, not me!
Naturally, Peter, being Peter, falls victim to his own diabolical plan. The dingo goes for him because karma's a bitch, and Peter's been collecting bad karma like trading cards. Chip and Peter then get into a full-blown spat, Peter finally airing his grievances.
Because my life was fine before you showed up. My family liked me, and I didn't feel bad about not ever doing new stuff.
Chip, probably tired of Peter's midlife crisis, bails after that mic drop moment. Peter's mission accomplished. He's finally rid of his tiny, more charismatic clone.
I get it. He's gone. Just as easy as the creation of techno music.
But plot twist, the family is absolutely not having it. They're ready to mount a search party for Chip, proving once again that Peter's wins are everyone else's losses. He then tries to deflect because gaslighting is his favorite hobby.
Whoa, 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 what are y'all coming down on me for? Meg throws away people who come out of a body all the time. Nobody says nothing.
Later, in a moment of pure unadulterated Peterness, he decides to wear high heels and promptly tumbles down the basement stairs. Because if you're gonna break a bone, you might as well do it with style.
I think I broke my leg.
But guess who swoops in like a tiny unwanted hero? His twin, Chip. Turns out having a vestigial clone can occasionally pay off. Peter really should have learned his lesson about ditching family, no matter how inconveniently they sprout from your neck. After spending a few days playing caretaker to his Grandpa Carter, Chris, in an unexpected plot twist, charms his way into Carter's good graces. So much so, that Carter decides to rewrite his will, making Chris the sole heir to his massive fortune. This revelation naturally sends Peter into a full-blown existential crisis about his own financial future, because nothing scares Peter more than having to actually work for a living.
Listen, Carter, you take me out of your will, I'm taking you out of mine.
Peter, that wasn't your will. That was your birth certificate.
Oh, no. There's no light. There's only fire.
Later that night, Peter, clearly traumatized by the idea of being financially irrelevant, brings up a genius new strategy with Lois that they need to start brown-nosing Chris.
I'm talking about brown-nosing Chris and getting on his good side perk.
Peter, bless his heart, is using a new word he just learned, and of course he's using it wrong. It's giving trying too hard to be smart vibes, but failing miserably. Lois presses Peter on why he's so fixated on his inheritance.
Look, I never told you this, but for years now, I've been planning on retiring at 45, so I can work on finding a cure for Alzheimer's disease.
Peter then attempts to forge an unbreakable father-son bond with Chris, which apparently involves matching outfits and suggesting a secret handshake. It's giving dad trying to be cool energy, but cranked up to a cringeworthy 11.
Why are you dressed like that?
I don't know, I just kind of felt like this is what cool people wear.
Peter is, quite literally, buttering up his son like a bad steak. Later, Peter decides to go for the ultimate power move. He shows up with the head of a kid he thought was bullying Chris at school, because nothing says protect a father like decapitating a perceived threat.
That's not even him! That's the deaf kid!
Oh, that was sign language. I thought he was trying to defend himself with terrible karate.
Peak Peter logic right there, mistaking sign language for a martial art. This dude's brain cells are definitely on vacation. That evening, Peter, dejected by his failed attempts to win Chris's affection, debriefs his buddies, spilling the tea about Chris inheriting Carter's entire stash.
You know what? I say good for Chris and whatever lucky girl he ends up marrying.
Yeah, or a lucky guy if he ends up being gay.
This last comment, as dark and twisted as Peter's mind, sparks a truly genius idea in his head. He then proceeds to wake Chris up in the dead of night for what can only be described as the most unhinged father-son chat ever.
Chris, there comes a time when every man looks at his son and thinks, I want to take this to the next level.
Peter's greed has officially hit new lows. He literally proposes marriage to his own son. The lengths this man will go for money are both horrifying and hilariously predictable.
Chris Griffin, will you marry me?
What? Is it even legal for a man to marry his son?
It is in Vermont.
Chris, bless his naive heart, expresses understandable discomfort and curiosity about his dad's truly bizarre proposal.
Why do you even want to marry me?
It's time to settle down and simplify things, like maybe having one ATM card and one bank account. Say yours.
Unbelievably, Chris agrees to this absolutely bonkers idea of marrying his own father. Peter then proceeds to wake up Lois, his actual wife, and Chris's mother, in the middle of the night, lying through his teeth to get her to sign separation papers.
It's a petition to force that hot mom to wear something appropriate at PTA meetings.
Seriously, Peter, using that as cover? The audacity is unparalleled, even for him. Peter actually drags Chris all the way to Vermont and arranges their wedding. But in a heroic plot twist, Lois bursts in just in the nick of time, crashing the incestuous festivities.
Stop the wedding!
Louis, how did you find out about this?
Peter, several people have called the police about a man marrying his son. It's not normal.
Peter, you're absolutely not a normal guy. That much is clear. Maybe next time try using that underdeveloped brain of yours for not committing crimes or marrying family. Alright, hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the brain of a man who consistently proves gravity isn't the only thing dragging him down. Spill the beans in the comments below. Which Peter-induced calamity is your all-time fave? And don't forget to absolutely smash that like button and hit subscribe for more wild adventures and questionable life choices from the Family Guy. Until our next video, stay safe out there.